what prompted you to book a call with me today? What is it that you'd like to ask your guides?
Okay. My love life is always something that I feel like is heavy. And I would like to ask what is going on with this person that I just met, and we kind of connected. Well, I can't say kind of. We did connect in a very deep level, and it's something that it's very rare and new to me because it never happened before.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I feel like he's kind of taking it really slow, and I feel like he has doubts, and he has a little bit of a guard. Yeah, and he has expressed that to me.
All right. Well, your guides are saying that it's important that you two take your time.
Mhm.
There's a part of you that's overly excited.
Yes.
And what that's going to do is it's going to cause you to bundle up too soon.
Mhm.
Bundling meaning you're going to braid your energy with his energy too fast, and he's going to feel like he needs to come up for air.
Yeah.
So they want you to pay attention to if you text first, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Let him lead the way.
Mhm.
And then when he texts you, you can respond. But don't try to go too deep with him right now because he may not be feeling what you're feeling.
Mhm.
Right? So you want to make sure that you honor his process and his timing.
Mhm.
And that you're patient with the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like the overexcitement has created an instability within your field.
Mhm.
And the reason why you're obsessing about it is because now your mind is trying to rationalize all these things, and it's not about your mind, it's about your heart.
Mhm.
So we want to bring you back to that balance, to that center point.
Okay.
How often do you see him?
We have seen each other for 3 times already, and we text very briefly, but it's more of like the times that we saw each other, it was like for 7 hours and nonstop talking and having a good time. And it's just been very, I don't even know. Like sometimes I can't even explain it.
Mhm. Well, it's about having boundaries.
Mhm.
Because otherwise he's not going to feel safe to hang out with you.
Mhm.
Because every time he hangs out with you, he's like, "Oh my God, I have to schedule 7 hours out of my day." Yeah.
No, it usually it just ends up being that way because, and I feel the energy is reciprocate. Like he also doesn't want to leave.
Well, yes, in the moment he doesn't, but after he starts to pull back.
Mhm.
So forget about the moment. The moment is really, I mean, if I lived for the moment, I'd be getting drunk right now. Then I'd be having drugs, and I'd be having sex. It's not about the moment.
Mhm.
It's about the larger picture. If I did YouTube videos an hour every time, I would never want to do YouTube anymore because it's a long time.
Yeah.
Right? So what you want to do is like, am I in this for the long haul? Or am I in this to do a 5-hour video and then get sick of it and never do it again?
Mhm.
So you have to really moderate.
Okay.
So the next time you guys think about hanging out, hey, suggest, hey, why don't we just hang out for a couple of hours? I'm only available for a couple of hours. We'll hang out for the 6, and then that's it.
Mhm.
And that way you leave wanting more.
Yeah.
But if you're with him 7 hours, this is obviously there's an energy pulling you guys to each other, but obviously he's not sticking to it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be about him.
I wouldn't be wondering. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to look out for yourself.
Yeah, the reason why I'm wondering is because I met him in a dating app. So that's why I'm wondering too.
No, well, the dating app has nothing to do with it. You've already met him in person.
Mhm.
This is about, do you want something that has longevity, or do you want something that's going to be very gratifying for 7 hours, and then
Mhm.
because he feels like it's going to be an ordeal every time he sees you, then he's not going to see you anymore.
Okay.
You have to value your time. Be busy, have other things to do. Yeah, and then you might see him 3 times a week, because then he'll want to see you again.
Mhm.
It can be intoxicating to be in that energy in a good way, where it's like, ooh,
Mhm.
I want to keep, now let's go get coffee, now let's go get ice cream, now. But the thing is, it's not balanced.
Mhm.
It's not
Okay.
balanced. And for some people, it might be balanced, but because they're balanced. So when they finish with the 7 hours,
Mhm.
they won't pull away from you.
Yeah. Well, the last time we saw a
Hmm.
movie and then he dropped me off home. So that
That's
was
good.
yeah.
Okay.
So but how do I deal with that desire of like it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'm still thinking about him. Obviously he's like present in my mind, and it doesn't matter how busy I get or my job or whatever I'm doing, he's still there. And that's something that I don't control.
Hmm.
Um
That's okay. I think it's important to, there's always going to be someone or something that we're thinking about. And the reason why you're thinking about him a lot is because it's a teaching tool to get you to focus more on your mindfulness. Yeah.
mhm.
So like, let's say that I'm thinking about someone, it's going to, and I'm maybe fixated over it,
Mhm.
then I would need to shift my energy and maybe go meditate and learn how to kind of combat that energy. Not in a negative way, but in a way where I'm practicing more mindfulness
Mhm.
to choose which thoughts I have. But right now,
Okay.
it sounds like your thoughts are choosing you.
Mhm.
And the main reason why we're on this, the principal reason why we're on this planet is to become masters of our minds.
Mhm.
To go, it doesn't matter if I have a bill to pay, I will pay it when I pay it. But if you're always, oh my God, I'm not going to be peaceful until I pay it, then you're not really mastering your mind.
Okay.
So every once in a while, you kind of have to go, and that's what meditation is essentially, yeah? You go in
Mhm.
meditation, you have a lot of thoughts, and then you learn how to mute them out. You learn how to go, okay, there's all these thoughts bombarding me. Why don't I just focus on one point, like a focal point, almost like a
Mhm.
target on a dartboard, and let me just start really training myself to focus on this one target on the dartboard.
Okay.
This is how you really start to master your mind, is to pick a focal point. This is why when you see people meditating, they will usually be looking at one thing, at a
Yeah.
flame, or maybe they have their eyes closed and they're focused on their third eye, is because
Mhm.
it casts out all of the noise, and they're able to zoom in or dial in on that attentiveness, that mindfulness, that meditative space. So everything that you're attracting thought-wise is there to be a teaching tool. It's almost like a guidance system or a guidepost. And going, okay, I'm focusing too much on him. Let me use that energy and direct it elsewhere.
Mhm.
Because otherwise, you're just a slave to your thoughts.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm like because I want to see him as soon as possible. I'm like obsessing over like, okay, when is he gonna text me next and ask me to go somewhere? Because now the next time is like his turn to make plans. Because last time I made the plan, so it's like,
He can
and
feel
I've
you.
been single for 4 years, and I've been doing a lot of inner work.
Hmm.
So I feel like because it's been so long, I've I'm having a hard time. Like, I guess it's like feels like it's new to me again, but it's very
Yeah.
different.
The inner work was what drew him to you in the first place.
Mhm.
So don't lose sight of this.
Mhm.
The inner work that you've done is what allowed you to create a magnetic charge to then attract him into your field.
Mhm.
So once you meet him, you don't want to throw all of that work that you've done out the window. You want to now practice it and apply it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, it's like if a soldier is training for the war, and the second he gets in the war zone, he's lazy. You're going to get killed in 2 seconds.
Mhm.
You want to now implement everything that you've been learning. The universe gives us a timeout so that we can really hone in on our abilities.
Mhm.
And then everything happens in a cycle. And then the universe says, okay, time to get back in the world. Or now you're going to meet a lover. Or now you're going to have a fight with a friend. How are you going to handle it? So
Mhm.
the key is to make everything that you're learning applicable and then go ahead and follow through with that application. So this is a great time for you to heal, to further heal your inner child. Your inner child is like, oh my God, I think I found love. Oh my God, I want him to call me. But that's not your adult.
Okay.
Your adult would say, hey, inner child, why don't we just keep focused on the inner work? And if he chooses to call us, then then we'll be there. But right now, he can feel all of these energetic waves that are rolling over him from you, and he's sensing it psychically.
Mhm.
If I had someone that was obsessing over me all day long, and I felt them in my field, the last thing I would want to do is see them.
Yeah.
Because it's too much. It's overwhelming.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess I'm having a hard time not being overwhelmed and not overthinking, and I also think like I don't want to think because I don't want to send that energy towards him and push him away with that energy.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is spending more time in nature,
Mhm.
asking your angels and guides to help you up level, move into a higher level. Not releasing this belief that you're going to affect him. This is a limiting belief.
Okay.
You're responsible for you and you alone.
Okay.
People can receive thoughts that you're obsessing about them, but guess what? They have a learning tool too.
Mhm.
That's a tool for them to release whatever they're hanging on to. So if, let's say, he thinks he's feeling you all day, this is a great opportunity for him to up level as well.
Mhm.
But you really want to make sure that you drop the belief that you're going to affect him or push your chances away, because that's you still feeding into limitation.
Okay.
When it comes to your true love, it's not possible to push them away.
Okay.
They will want to be with you. If you're still afraid, that should be a telltale sign that maybe he's not the one. This is something you also have to entertain.
Yeah.
That if you're afraid of pushing him away, he's probably not the one. It's about paying attention to all of these little nuances,
Mhm.
all these little details that make you think so limitedly.
I don't have a doubt that he's the one.
But if you didn't have a doubt, you wouldn't be afraid to send thoughts to him. If you didn't have a doubt, you guys would be able to communicate about healthy boundaries. You wouldn't be waiting by your phone hoping for him to contact you. You would be open with him.
I see.
There's no wall. When you're in love, there's no more wall. There's open communication. There's nothing to run away from anymore. Everything else is still karma.
I just feel like I'm open, but he's not all the way open, which is what he expressed.
Yes, I understand. So you're doing the right thing, not talking to him all the time.
Mhm.
But it's okay to be skeptical as well
Mhm.
with anything in life. I work with extraterrestrials and I'm still skeptical, right? You can't just fully lose yourself in this idea that he's the one, because then you're going to lose your footing to reality. It's always good to have a little bit of skepticism.
Yeah.
Because that's what allows you to study things. That's what allows you to examine the patterns. Otherwise, you're going to get rolled up in this fantasy, and you're going to romanticize and fantasize, and you're going to end up very hurt.
Yeah.
Inner child and inner work is about being aware of these things. Yeah, it's about, I'm not going to hurt my inner child anymore. I'm not going to mislead her and give her false hope that he's the one, and then when he's not the one, she's going to be devastated. This is inner work.
Okay.
It's assuming the parenting role. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, is there a possibility that he's the one? Yeah, of course. There's always possibilities. But in an infinite field of possibility, is it also possible that he's not the one? Yes, because it's an infinite field of possibility.
Yes.
So then the key is to go, all right, I think I've invested too much energy in this because I keep thinking about him. And that's a sign from my angels that I need to redirect my energy. I need to refocus and repurpose my energy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get back to the work that I was doing before, which is the very work that allowed me to attract him to me when he didn't exist. And then that will allow you to re-empower yourself. Right now, you're a little bit at the mercy of him.
Okay.
This is not, but you see what I mean? This is not empowerment. Empowerment is you're not at the mercy of anyone. You become fully independent.
I needed to hear that.
Yes.
Okay.
It's okay. The mind is sneaky. I deal with things too, by the way. I get very confused sometimes about things. It's a very interesting reality we're in, because when our emotions are caught up in a scenario, or when we start to have feelings for people, it's sometimes difficult to differentiate between what is spirit and what is ego. Yeah, it's like, I think this is my twin flame, but I'm not sure, but I am sure, but I am sure. And the reason why it's so difficult and so complex is because all of us have so many sides to who we are. You know, you have many sides to who you are. I have many facets to who I am. He has many facets to who he is. And every single one of those facets connects you to dimensions. So sometimes you might be in an amazing dimension with him, like the 7 hours. Wow, yes. We're like, there's two aspects of who we are that are connecting fully right now, yeah? And then another aspect comes online, and now both of you are in a different dimension. This is what makes a relationship so difficult, is because we're not these like mono-tracked, mono-dimensional beings. We are these multi-dimensional beings, and we are always shifting from dimension to dimension, just like we're shifting gears. But the key is to remain, to keep your foot on the clutch. And I'm giving you this metaphor right now. If you were driving a manual car stick shift, you would have to keep your foot on the clutch. The clutch is your observation.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? The gears are like the emotions. The gears are like the dimensions. The gears are like the 7 hours and then the nothing at all. These are the gears. But what you want to do is keep your foot on the clutch, meaning you're always ready for change. You're always ready for the unexpected. This is what's going to allow you to really observe yourself through the energy of what both of you are dancing with right now.
Yeah, I just think that that's why I was so excited, because it was the very first time that we met, and that's when we spent 7 hours together.
Absolutely, because
and
what that was,
very first time.
What that was the initial connection with all the possibilities coalesced within that. Meaning, the 7 hours were all the potentials. Meaning, maybe becoming in a relationship, maybe getting married someday, maybe having kids someday. the excitement that we feel on a first date when we can't let them go is all of the future possibilities interacting.
Mhm.
It's like when you look at someone in their eyes and you've just met them and you say, I think this is my husband. That's because you're in that moment receiving a potential timeline that this person is actually your husband. Is that making sense?
Yes.
But so that's why people spend so much time together on the first date when there's so much potential. It's like if you were to take a thermometer and boop, it hits the top, yeah? Oh my God,
Yeah.
there's so much, it's peaking. There's so many possibilities that are brewing in the field. It's so incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
But we also don't want to disregard the fact that human beings are the most unpredictable creatures.
Mhm.
Yes, this is what makes us so fascinating to the extraterrestrials, because they're like, wow, these humans can be best friends with someone, and all of a sudden, they drop them. You know, that's what makes us very fascinating to study, because we are so unpredictable. Everyone is unpredictable. You might decide you quit your job tomorrow, and all of a sudden, you want to launch yourself into a new career. That's very unpredictable behavior.
Yeah.
So we don't want to negate the fact that this can happen. We want to be precautious, yeah?
Yeah.
If you're too locked into, but this is it, but this is it, but this is it, but this is it, you're not really well balanced.
Okay.
You're losing yourself in an extremity.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing that, because the last time it was about a friend that wasn't emotionally available. I was interested in having something else with him, and I was there for him because he was trying to get over someone. He was hurt. And I finally let go for good, like sincerely with myself. I finally let go of him, and it was like a switch. And then the next week after that is when I met this guy.
Yeah.
So I felt like I opened up because I was blocking myself with that, and then I unblocked. So that's why I was like, yes, that's a big sign.
Yes. What it was a confirmation and affirmation that your work cleared space for someone new to be able to enter. But then you reenacted and you repeated the old pattern, which is to get so stuck on someone. Our patterns are always, I want to say, playing themselves out over and over and over again. And every time we play them out, we are a little more aware than we were the last time. Yes, this is part of what wisdom is. We go through experiences, we gain knowledge, and then that knowledge, as it is processed, turns into wisdom. Yeah? So every time we get a little more wise, and we're able to navigate a situation with more maturity and more rationality.
Okay.
So, but remember, for all of us, right, like for me included, my old patterns always come up again. It's like a theme. Let's say abandonment. Oh, this person's going to abandon me again. Oh, these are themes that will continue to follow you. And the reason why they have to follow you is so that you can then utilize them as a tool to master yourself. So abandonment isn't the enemy. The issue is not the enemy. The issue is like a pocket-sized teacher that is always with you in your purse or in your back pocket, and it's showing you, be careful. You're replaying out the old pattern. Be careful. We want you to remain in balance. So the abandonment issue, the fear, these are not our enemies. They are actually teachers. And they reflect back to us what it is that we still need to master within ourselves. So,
our patterns always gonna show up? Don't they disappear when you learn from the pattern?
Yes, but in this case, you have not yet learned.
Okay.
In this case, there's still a part of you that's obsessing, like you were with the previous guy that was emotionally unavailable. And so that pattern is showing you that it's very much present in your field.
And I guess booking a session with you is part of that pattern.
Yeah, and look, it's okay because the second that we think we figured it out, myself included, then we're never going to grow. There is going to continue to be contrast that is thrown your direction. The universe will continue to throw curveballs your way because that contrast is providing us with more clarity. Right? If someone honks at me on the road today, then that is contrast that's being offered to me. And whether I get reactionary or not, maybe I don't get reactionary at all, and then that will be contrast too, because I'll say, wow, I'm not reactionary anymore. So it's an additional enriching experience, if you will.
Okay.
So yes, your patterns will continue to reenact. And it's nice to accept that they may never go away. It's okay to accept that because that contrast is always going to get you to step up your game.
Yeah.
For instance, every meditation that you do is contrast. Right? It becomes a pattern to meditate. That meditate is offering you contrast. And every time you expand a little more.
Yeah.
So patterns are not necessarily to be vilified. They're just meant to be there so that we can learn from them. And we can try something different. Meaning, I'm feeling the pull to text him. That's my pattern. Today, I'm going to try on a different outfit. And I'm going to try a different approach and I'm not going to text him. And by virtue of not texting him, you have just broadened your perspective a little more.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does. But yeah, like it's hard to book a session with you, so I saw it and I was like, oh my god.
You were scrambling to get one, huh?
I saw the notification that you posted on your story. Oh, I wonder if it's a session, and then I saw it.
You did it. You're a wonderful manifester.
I think I did manifest this because I told my friend yesterday, I was talking to a friend and I told her, I want to get a session with Phil, but it's so hard to get one.
Yeah. There's no question that you manifested it because usually when I go back to my stories and I can check like with different things how many people swiped up, there's usually like 200 swipes on one session. So I'm sure there were a few people that swiped alongside you, maybe not 200 people within 5 minutes, but maybe 15. So what I want to say to you is you're doing really great work. Your guides are commending you, but they also want to remind you not to lose sight of all the work that you've done prior to meeting this guy and to not allow yourself to be derailed.
Okay.
Because oftentimes what we do is we do incredible work with ourselves and then we meet something or someone in the physical and we're like, oh my God, I got what I wanted. Now I can forget about my spiritual work. Your spiritual work is going to be continuous on this plane of existence. Your spiritual work has no end, just like it has no beginning, which is why no one can locate how it all started. Because it's always been here. There was no beginning. There was no end. It's all happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we don't lose our focus, that we remain committed and devoted to the deeper questions, to the deeper existential questions you have about life. Because as soon as you wrap yourself up in another human, you are compromising yourself. You're compromising yourself. Unless it's someone who's ready to do life with you,
Mhm.
and who's ready to weather any storm with you, who's ready to overcome any challenge with you. Until you have that officialized, legitimized status of a relationship, then you still have to look out for yourself.
Yeah.
You're the only one who can be trusted unless someone else or until someone else proves that they too can be trusted.
Yeah. Yeah, he's also someone who's been doing self-work, which is why we connected so well.
Yes. But keep in mind, there are degrees of self-work.
Yes.
There are a lot of people on the planet who are doing self-work, and different people are achieving different levels within that game. So if someone is spiritual, I'm not going to go goo goo gaga, yes, you're my one. No, how spiritual are you? What are you going to do when we have an issue that comes up? Are you going to run for the hills? So spiritual work is something that is so varying in the degrees of the different levels people have attained.
Yeah.
But it's nice that you guys have that commonality, and there's still more to explore. And remember, it's all there right now. All the energies that are communicating with you throughout the day are kind of like guides. They're sort of like angels that are saying, hey, you're too focused on the physical. Hey, you're too focused on this human. Connect back into your breath. Nothing else exists but you. You're the only one that matters. This is your universe. You are the creator of it.
So just think like that every time I start just getting crazy or thinking over about him.
Yeah. Find a focus point. Find a thing in your mind or a visual in your mind that you can always connect back into or link back into to get back to that higher frequency, to practice your mindfulness. Mindfulness is an art. It's an art form.
Yeah.
And the men who are able to walk on fire are not doing it by having a scattered brain, you see? They're doing it by having a focal point.
Okay. I work with crystals. I feel like those help sometimes.
They're still physical.
So it has to be in my mind.
Yeah, your spirit. Your spirit has the entire universe within it.
Okay.
But the crystal isn't bad. If you want to keep one in your pocket, that's a good place to start. It's better than having thoughts going all over the place and you spiraling out of control. If you have a little crystal you can keep in your pocket, and every time you start to, your mind starts to get jumbled, you can pick it out of your purse and hold on to it. This is a good first step.
Yeah. I'm also having a lot of quiet time because of a job that I'm doing. Very quiet, alone time. So I think that because of that, my mind starts more.
Remember, the quiet time is being afforded to you right now.
Yes.
So that it can start to mirror to you what you're meant to have, which is quiet internal time, which is to have peace of mind internally. So the quietness in your life right now is triggering the lack of quietness in your mind. And so even the quietude is become a teacher.
Okay.
There's nowhere to run to. This is a time to tap into your magic. This is a time to tune into the quietude within you, to the calmness of your spirit.
Okay. I'm also feeling it in my body. Like my shoulder feels like tingly in my right, like my right side. I feel like my body is holding on to it.
Yes. If you make sure that you dedicate your time to a lot of meditation, you will eventually transcend these thoughts. And you will be in acceptance of what chooses to come and also what chooses to go, and you will not be as tethered to the results or the outcomes. This is what it means to be embodied. Being embodied is you become unconditional love, and when something wants to arrive, you welcome it, and when something wants to go, you say peace out. Yes, you're not attached to the outcomes. You give thanks for the 7 hours that you got to spend with him, but you don't expect it to happen again.
Okay.
You just say, I'm very grateful for the time I got to spend with him. Start shifting your mind to gratitude more. Start shifting your mind to appreciation more. Start shifting your mind to the gift of life that's being offered to you in every now moment, even when it's uncomfortable. So thank you so much. I know we went a little over time.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
It's okay. You're so welcome, and I'm sending you infinite blessings, and I will go ahead and send you the file.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.